A sneak peek at Calgary's budget.
I think this is really important so that Calgarians can see where the proposed investments will be.
But don't bank on it until after the civic election. A motorcycle crash claims the life of a young man. And amazing discovery.
The fact that we found out something the size of a fingernail was... Truth be told, I don't know how we found that.
A rare dragonfly fossil uncovered in the Badlands.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Alicia Fieldburn.
Good afternoon. An early look at next year's city budget shows a 5% increase in taxes for homeowners to help pay for the increased spending on housing, safety and transit. But it will be up to the next council to make changes. Jordan Canagan is at City Hall with more. Jordan, what would this budget mean for Calgarians?
Well, Alicia, we could actually see this budget change quite significantly in just over a month when a new council is elected. But as it stands right now, this new budget could see hundreds of millions of dollars in additional spending. In turn, that would mean higher taxes for property owners. The preview of Budget 2026 sees residential taxes jump by 5.4%, while non-residential would climb 1.3%. Utilities also projected to go up by 3.8% next year. There's more than $300 million in additional spending on the table set to go to affordable housing initiatives, transit upgrades, and more. The fire department is in line to get $21 million more in funding, and police are on track to get $28 million more, some of which will go to hiring 21 new officers.
When we say we don't have enough police officers to respond to the call volumes are coming in, it's because we're losing officers to the mental health crisis.
I think this is really important so that Calgarians can see where the proposed investments will be, and so that candidates, quite frankly, in the election can see this as well.
So this is just a preview of next year's budget, something we don't typically see at this time of the year. It will be up to a new look council when they're elected on October 20th. They will have to debate and eventually pass this budget in late November. Alicia?
Thanks, Jordan. Breaking news from the southeast. Police are at the scene of another motorcycle crash. It happened on Cranston Avenue just before 4 this afternoon. Officers say the motorcyclist was taken to hospital with life-altering injuries. It follows a deadly motorcycle crash early this morning on McLeod Trail. A man in his 20s died, and police say speed was a factor. Investigators believe the motorcyclist hit the back of a car, was thrown from the bike, and died at the scene. This is the 6th motorcycle fatality in Calgary since the beginning of June. Alberta's Privacy Commissioner has questions about the province's push to add citizenship details to driver's licenses. Earlier this week, Premier Danielle Smith promised mandatory citizenship markers will be placed on IDs in late 2026. Today, in a statement to CTV News, the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Alberta questioned the change. She says her office was not informed or consulted ahead of time, and that it's unclear what the benefit will be for Albertans. Smith pushed back, saying the change is about streamlining services and preventing election fraud.
The only people who are entitled to receive Alberta health care are people who live in Alberta and pay taxes in Alberta. So we've got to make sure that we're addressing that. And we also know that citizenship is one of the obligations that you have to demonstrate if you're going to vote. So we're confident that we'll be able to manage those things. Other jurisdictions have been able to. I'm sure we'll be able to work through it.
The Privacy Commissioner says her office will further assess the changes once it sees the proposed legislation. And the Premier is directing Alberta's Jobs Minister to use all legal means possible to give the province more control over immigration. The new mandate letter says additional control is needed to ensure the province sees sustainable levels of newcomers. Smith's directive also says Canadian citizens should have first access to jobs, and young people should be prioritized over temporary foreign workers. The Bank of Canada has lowered its key lending rate by 1/4 percentage point. It's now sitting at 2.5%. Jacqueline Wilson joins us with the impact of that decision. Jackie, what does this mean for mortgages in Calgary's housing market?
Alicia, I spoke to Paul Ackerman today. He's a real estate agent here in this city, and he says that this drop in interest rate will really impact first-time home buyers the most because they've kind of been on the sidelines waiting to enter this market. Now, of course, it's also going to impact those who are paying a variable mortgage right now. In fact, variable rates have actually dropped below fixed rates. Certainly, if we can all remember, it's an improvement from a year ago. So, for example, someone who has a monthly variable mortgage payment of about $2,400 prior to today's rate cut, they'll now pay about $60 less a month. That is according to Rate Hub.
What we see typically when the rates change is we see a little bit more interest from buyers. It's not massive, but it's definitely tangible. And I think for a buyer, you know, when you're considering purchasing, you're looking at a number of different things. And the rates are obviously one of a number of components. And when the rates change, and when especially the trajectory is good, that we think that rates are going to continue to go downwards, then it makes a difference.
Now, Paul Ackerman adds it's actually going to be really interesting to see what happens in the next couple of months. You know, while there is lots of inventory right now and interest rates are low, a lot of people actually might wait until the spring just to see how, you know, global events affect the market, including the low job rates and the uncertainty. Alicia?
Thanks, Jackie. Having a pet can provide health benefits, but caring for them can be costly. The Alberta Animal Rescue Crew Society is helping some older people overcome that hurdle. Seniors had a chance to bring their pets to a Calgary clinic today for free veterinary checkups and vaccinations. The initiative is meant to strengthen the bond between people and their pets and to prevent animals from being surrendered to shelters.
Owners are leaving very happy knowing that their pet has been taken care of. So it removes some of that stress, that concern that they might have, especially when it comes to finances, because their pet is such a huge part of their life.
ARC says pet owners who are 65 or older and on a fixed income can apply to get free pet care at their wellness clinics. Cirque du Soleil is running at Stampede Park right now, but today audiences at TELUS Spark got a look at the science behind the performance. Artists from the Cirque show Echo performed at TELUS Spark this morning. Then scientists explained the physics, biomechanics, and engineering behind their moves, including the hidden mechanics that allow contortionists to bend the rules of the human body. Another session will be held tomorrow at the Science Centre at 11 a.m. It's included with general admission or Spark membership. Some impressive stuff there, Danielle.
Yes.
And I think impressive weather for people who enjoy the summery hot temperatures.
Yeah, we were due some summer, right? And we're getting that. We're absolutely getting that. We're well above normal. Normal in the city is 17 degrees. Today's high so far 26. So yeah, we're almost 10 degrees above normal. It's a little breezy out there. The gust registering at the airport at the moment is 33 kilometers per hour. Again, it's 26 degrees and a whole lot of blue sky. And we have decent air quality as well. We're low risk on that air quality health index. Okay, your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Fifth Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit fifthavvw.com. And gusts up to 40 kilometers are possible throughout the next couple of hours, then quieting for the overnight hours. Tomorrow we'll start off with lots of sunshine, 11 degrees at 8 a.m. And in the afternoon, a high of 23. So not quite as warm as today. This is ahead of a system that will arrive on Friday. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit.
Thanks, Danielle. An Alberta team has made one of the province's largest ever drug seizures. Details about the 2-year operation uncovering trafficking from the United States and how a new treatment is improving outcomes after spinal cord injuries. Also, if you have a news tip, text us at 10400. Alberta's Alert Police team says it's made one of the biggest drug busts in provincial history. Rifles and handguns lined the table at Calgary Police headquarters in front of stacks of cocaine in bricks. 157 kilograms of cocaine total, which police say is worth about $15 million. The drugs were shipped from Mexico through the United States and into Canada using 7 vehicles with hidden compartments.
Our information suggests that the organized crime group was paying upwards to $50,000 to have these hidden compartments installed, and this speaks to the sophistication of their operation and profit motive.
An Edmonton man was arrested in Texas last year and is now serving an 11-year sentence. 5 other Albertans were arrested in Canada, including 2 Calgarians. They are out on bail until their next court appearance in the coming weeks. Halo Air Ambulance in Medicine Hat has been grounded following a recent safety incident. Emergency Health Services Alberta will only say it happened during a patient transfer and nobody was injured. A review has been ordered and Halo has until Friday to submit a corrective action plan. In the meantime, Stars Air Ambulance will provide service in the Medicine Hat area. Well, we've had some really nice warm weather, and we will continue to have some in the next few days, but today is going to be better than tomorrow if you're looking for outdoor activities.
Yeah, if you're looking for that heat, today is one of the hottest of the next 10 days for sure. We may bounce back into these mid-20s for the weekend, but we'll cool down a little bit. But hey, we're still going to be in the 20s for the rest of this week and for much of next week. And next week is officially fall, believe it or not. Okay, temperature. Look at Lethbridge right now, 28 degrees in Lethbridge. That's well above normal. 26 in the city. Again, 17 is what's normal for this time of year. And we're at 26 in Brooks and Medicine Hat, Milk River, 25 in Pincher Creek. A little breezy out there as well. Radar and satellite. Nothing going on right now, and that's because of this strong ridge of high pressure. You can draw that in the cloud cover. In fact, this ridge of high pressure peaks all the way into the territories, which is why it's hot even way to the north of us. Okay, when we look at this pattern, though, this is going to switch up a little bit on Friday, and that will be a one-day thing. So I'm going to advance this. You can see Wednesday. When we get into Friday here, we're going to lose this ridge. It will shift off, but we will get one quickly moving in behind it. It's just going to take its time for it to strengthen and intensify. So for Friday, we do have the potential of showers and thunderstorm activity. That instability is certainly a possibility for Friday in much of the south. Okay, and then you can see that building back in on Saturday, that ridge of high pressure, and we're looking at another hot day for Saturday because of it. When we look at the futurecast, again, it's quiet tonight. It's quiet tomorrow. Tomorrow we may have some cloud cover creep in ahead of this weather pattern change. And then Friday morning, up the QE2, even all the way down to Calgary, basically Trans-Canada and north, the potential for showers and even non-severe thunderstorms in the morning. And then a lot of this activity shifts down to the far south when we head into the afternoon hours. So again, for Friday, it will be a little unstable. You may run into an isolated shower or non-severe thunderstorm, and then things clear up for Saturday. There just may be a little bit of residual cloud cover on Saturday. We're at the low risk part of that air quality health index. It's good air. We may pop up to moderate. As you can see, Friday morning, we may have a bit of smoke roll in. It shouldn't be very intense, but we may get a little smokier on Friday morning, and then that should be it for the week, then bump back down to low risk for the rest of the week. All right, looking at that longer range forecast, 23 degrees for tomorrow. Still toasty, just not as hot as today. Today's high, again, so far was 26. Friday, again, because we lose that ridge of high pressure, we have the chance of showers and thunderstorms. 26 degrees, though, by Saturday as that next ridge starts to build in. Sunday will likely become a little unstable again and a high of 21, and then 21 degrees as our high on Monday for the official start of fall.
A new implant is helping spinal cord injury patients with a common complication, regulating their blood pressure. Doctors say the device is implanted around the spinal cord and delivers a low electrical current. It basically replaces the signal the brain would give the body to control blood pressure. The system was used in a research study led by university teams around the world, including the University of Calgary. And one of the 14 patients in the clinical trial is 32-year-old Cody Krebs, who broke his spine in a crash. He says low blood pressure makes him dizzy and tired, but his new implant has been a game changer.
It's helped me kind of get back into work and stuff too, because I'm not exhausted all the time. And if I have it on throughout the day, I find that I can spend more time in the evenings without being tired and having to go to bed early.
The company that developed the implant has received FDA approval for another trial involving about 20 research centers across Canada, Europe, and the United States. Calgary has recorded its first measles case in more than a month. That brings the total number of cases in the city to 52. Since March, Alberta has had 1,900 confirmed measles cases. The best protection against the highly infectious and preventable disease is 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. Calgary climbs the ranks as a technology hub. How the city stacks up to others following a local tech job boom. Cut its key interest rate for the first time since March. Joining me is Dave Popowich, Portfolio Manager with the Popowich-Carmeli Advisory Group. So Dave, how's the interest rate cut impacting Canadians?
Well, good question. You know, there's 2 sides to every coin, and I think this is a good example of it. The Bank of Canada delivered on what it was expected to deliver on, which is a 1/4 point cut. And the guidance is that going forward, market's pricing in another 1/4 point cut sometime over the next 12 months with a 40% probability that might come as early as October. So depending on if you're a saver or if you carry debt, this could be a very different outcome. So clearly, if you have variable debt, whether that's a home equity line of credit or say a variable rate mortgage, we would expect the big banks likely to follow through and follow the bank by reducing those interest rates, which of course would be a good news story. But if you're on the other side of the coin and you're a saver, well, long gone are those days where you could get a 5 or a 6% GIC with interest rates continuing to fall. Any cash that you're holding on hand or part of your portfolio is just earning less and less and less. So you really have to be very cognizant of what you hold cash for and what side of that coin you're on.
Yeah, good point. The U.S. is cutting interest rates for the first time this year. How did the markets react?
It was pretty stable. I would say that there is maybe a bit of activity in the bond market as the bond traders are trying to determine what the forward forecast for interest rates look like. Quite frankly, the Fed delivered on the expectation of what was expected for this year, but next year, perhaps fewer rate cuts than what was anticipated. And so we did see some activity in the bond markets. We did see some activity in the currency markets with the U.S. dollar appreciating against most of the major currencies. Having said that, the Dow did pretty well, but tech was under a bit of pressure today.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
You bet.
The union representing flight attendants at WestJet wants to start contract negotiations. CUPE has served notice to bargain a new collective agreement. The current contract is set to expire on December 31st. WestJet flight attendants want compensation for unpaid work they do before and after flights. The airline says it's looking forward to reaching an agreement. Earlier this month, Air Canada flight attendants rejected their employer's latest offer after striking over similar concerns. The federal government's probe into unpaid work in Canada's airline sector is expected to wrap up by early December. Calgary is seeing the fastest job growth of any Canadian tech center. That's according to a new report by Commercial Real Estate Services. On its top 50 ranking of North America tech talent markets, Calgary is up 3 spots to number 17. Between 2021 and 2024, the city saw a 61% increase in tech jobs for a total of 64,000 jobs. That's the fastest growth in the country. It's due in large part to Calgary's low setup costs for businesses, the high downtown vacancy rate, and reasonable cost of living.
Overall, Alberta, Calgary specifically has a very low cost of living compared to our major markets in Toronto and Vancouver. In addition, Calgary's been ranked one of the #1 cities for livability. And then if you look at the report as well, we've got some of the youngest population in our 20s and 30s in Calgary. So that just stems more growth.
San Francisco, Seattle, and Toronto round out the top tech markets in North America. Edmonton jumped 11 spots to number 38. And the cost of living could get higher for Calgarians. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Alicia. Today's budget preview shows property taxes are expected to increase by 5% next year, and utility bills will be climbing too. Coming up at 6, what that extra money will be used for, plus the city's message to those struggling to make ends meet. Also ahead, the Calgary Flames have signed Captain Michael Backlund to a 2-year extension. We'll have reaction to the $6.5 million deal. We'll see you at 6. Alicia.
Thanks, Tara. Sharing a meal with friends is a great way to build community, especially at the monthly Chow and Chatter event. The meal at Village Commons offers older adults a chance to build friendships, share stories, and enjoy lively activities. The food is prepared by social services agency Caria and volunteers from the Calgary Immigrant Women's Society who learn new culinary and hospitality skills. Organizers say it makes a big difference to seniors to find community support.
Social isolation is on the rise, especially for seniors. 1 in 4 seniors feel socially isolated, even when they have connections with family members. And having something that brings them out where they feel a sense of connection with peers, they have meaning and purpose in their lives, they get to enjoy a meal together, really supports people in their wellness.
Volunteers from TC Energy helped serve the meals and engage with participants. Well, it's a beautiful night for a walk or a bike ride. Right now in Calgary, it is sunny and 26 degrees. Danielle will be back with her forecast after the break. Danielle, 26 is a hot day in the summer,
Yes.
but this time of year, it's so short-lived, you don't probably need to put on the air conditioning.
Yeah, our nights are longer, not as many daylight moments, right? So the 26 is not as intense, you could say. You may not even need to put on that portable air conditioner for this because it'll cool down pretty quick. So 26 degrees, our current temperature, our daytime high, a little cooler tomorrow at 23, but will remain above 20 for the next 3 days. There is a decent chance of shower and thunderstorms on Friday. 26 though, so we bounce back to these mid-20s once again to kick off the weekend.
Thanks, Danielle. A dragonfly fossil has been discovered in Dinosaur Provincial Park, and it's the first of its kind in Canada. A team of researchers from McGill University made the discovery in 2023. They were looking for fossilized plant life when a member split a rock and found the impression of a dragonfly wing. But that was the first step in a long process. The team had to look at dragonfly discoveries all over the world to compare their find. It turns out this dragonfly is a newly discovered species and includes incredible detail from millions of years ago.
And it really only would have been about yay big, about the width of the palm of your hand for a full wingspan. So not the biggest fella, so not like the big giant dragonflies that existed back in the day, but, you know, a healthy sized dragonfly, which, you know, I like to say it's a nice raptor snack.
The dragonfly fossil is currently at McGill University, but Mueller says that it will likely make its way back to Alberta and be put on display here. The team's findings were recently published in the Canadian Journal of Earth Sciences. Thanks for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.